This watercolor artist had a healthy following of 82,000 on Instagram, but her art business had plateaued over the last 4 years. And so had her email list at just 1,300 subscribers. She did have a strong, engaged community who learned watercolor meditations from her on her monthly Zoom classes, but those were not scalable for her. And yet her students kept asking, when can we learn from you again? But she felt completely stuck in overwhelm launching her scalable online course and her membership. Ironically, she kept working harder than ever, but in her own words, she was throwing spaghetti at the wall. You see, the tech involved in setting up her course systems especially overwhelmed her. See, she knew that she was meant to be teaching her beautiful watercolor meditation practice on a much bigger scale, impacting a lot more people, but fear, past burnout, and just not having clarity on like literally what are the next steps she needs to follow on a daily basis. These were the things that were holding her back and slowing her down. Now, fast forward just a few months of working with us in our one-on-one mentorship program, she has grown her email list to 7,500 engaged subscribers, which is amazing. She also successfully launched her Meditate with Watercolors online course, and she has over 242 students as of now in it. And she also launched her Creative Pause watercolor membership, where in just her first launch, she got 52 students. So all of this has already added over $30,000 to her art business, and she also has recurring income coming in every month. But see, more than the numbers, she's no longer guessing or stuck in overwhelm or shrinking her dreams. She's now running her art business with clarity, structure, and intentionality, both on the marketing and selling, as well as the back-end tech systems that can actually hold her big, beautiful vision. This is the inspiring story of my dear friend and my client, Katie White. She's a watercolor artist who traded her plateaued income for scalable course sales, her tech overwhelm for systems that actually support her, and her scattered efforts for a clear, repeatable launch plan that sells her course effortlessly, that actually works with her energy and her rhythm. So if you're stuck in any way trying to launch your online course, your membership, your workshop, or any other art teaching offer, I think you'll see yourself in Katie's story. So let's dive in. For those of the people who don't know you, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what is it that you do in your art business?
Sure. My name's Katie White, and I am a watercolor artist out of Tampa, Florida. And I'm also an educator. So part of my business has evolved into art education, which is where my background was right before I became a professional artist. I was an elementary art teacher and have carried some of those tools into my creative business that I run.
Beautiful. And might I just say, I love your meditative watercolor landscapes, the ones that you have in your background. They're so enchanting, Katie.
Thank you. They are what drive me every day. So,
Yes. All right, let's go back to your art business before you joined our one-on-one program, Creative Course Launchpad.
mhm.
What did your art business look like then? And, what were some of your beliefs around launching an online course or selling an online course at that point?
Right. So a lot of my business over the last 8 years has been creating commissioned works of art for people. They come in and the landscape that you're talking about, that's pretty a typical piece of art that people are looking for their homes. So I had aligned myself with designers in town, and I've also had been represented by some galleries. That was primarily my business, kind of creating big, beautiful pieces of art for people's homes. However, I started meditative painting probably 4 years ago and started sharing it with friends in the area, kind of gathering around the table, pulling my love of education from previous life. And that side of my business has grown so much. I feel like I've tapped out with, you can only get so many people around the table. So I
Mhm.
always wanted to expand my reach in a global way through technology. So slowly I began to offer little classes with Zoom. It felt good, but I felt like it could grow, and I didn't know how to grow it. I know there is quite a formula for selling online courses, even creating an online course, I didn't even know where to begin. So that's kind of, I was lost before I discovered your business and how you could kind of help guide me to grow in that area.
Yeah. And I love it when our paths crossed, honestly.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before you started working with us, did you have like any sort of like beliefs around like, launching or selling your course that were kind of stopping you apart from just like not knowing where to start?
Absolutely. Technology. I think it
Mhm.
might have been the first thing I said to you was, I don't know how to do it. I am an old lady and I'm not really an old lady, but I mean, I'm in my 50s. It feels challenging. It is a very steep learning curve, and I'm up for the challenge of it, but I didn't know where to begin. And you can just spin your wheels over and over until someone can guide you. And once they guide you, it will click. But to sit here by myself and try to figure it out and muddle through it felt daunting. So I always used it as my excuse to not launch an online course or a membership or whatever it is that I wanted to do on a big global basis. I always just kept saying, well, I don't really know how to do the tech, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. And I feel like many of the people watching now can relate. I can relate. And I don't think it has anything to do with you being in your 50s, because that's exactly how I was in my 20s and now in my 30s. Thankfully, I have a tech genius in my life, which is the only reason why I didn't have to like figure things out or muddle through. But I would have absolutely been overwhelmed had it not been for the amazing Nahush Chaudhary. Okay. So, okay, I'm curious, what made you say yes to us working together? Like, what was the moment where you knew you couldn't keep doing things the same old way?
Well, if I can recall, you and I had a really great discovery call, and I feel like it was a good hour and a half of me asking questions, being hesitant. I think there's so many opportunities to hop on a discovery call with someone that wants to help you. And sometimes I am not good at discerning whether it's the right call to take or not. There was something, one, about your energy that felt honest and helpful. There was very little pressure. It was, go think about this. Like it just felt right. And I remember sharing my hesitancy about things with you, and you were very good about kind of coming back with answers to each thing that concerned me. So, one, I just felt like the energies aligned.
Yeah.
I was intrigued by the whole concept that Nahush is there to support the
Mhm.
tech. I didn't know how deep and how helpful it would be.
Mhm.
You kind of are told all the great things that you get when you jump in and do, when you sign up with somebody. And you don't really know how it's going to pan out until you go through it. I mean, quite honestly, it's a leap of faith, I think, at the end of the day. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow whatever formula it is. I'm going to trust the process. And I think what you and I have discussed, having gone through one big launch, I'm going to tweak it to
Yeah.
work for me. And I appreciate you and who's saying, yeah, you got to do what works for you. And it doesn't have to be exactly what we're telling you. But I did follow it to a T from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that was important for me to hold on to that as an anchor through the whole process.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of artists can relate to this because especially the ones who have already been burned by past investments where there was like a lot of promises of like this and that and everything, but then when you join, the support really not as deep as it was conveyed to you, and things just fall like warm. So in this time and age, I feel like a lot of creatives have been burned by solutions that were not all that were promised.
Mhm.
And so I absolutely respect that it feels a little scary to take that leap of faith, but I think one thing that I really admire about you is you took this leap of faith not because something clever that I said on our discovery call, but it was your intuition. And
Mhm.
that's something that I saw in you right from the very beginning is you trust your gut when it tells you to do something. And
Mhm.
that's when I knew that, oh my God, like she's going to go really, really far once we start doing the work together. And that's why I was
Mhm.
really excited to start working with you. Just quickly, before we keep going, if you're watching this right now and you're thinking, oh my God, this is literally where I'm stuck right now, then don't keep it to yourself. You don't have to struggle alone, right? Just DM me on Instagram or email me. I've left the details below and tell me what you're working on and let's take it from there. And don't worry, I'm the one who's going to be responding, not my team. I don't have like a gigantic team of coaches or something. It's just an artist who's been doing this for the last 10 years. So I'll share whatever I can, all my resources to help you out. So whether it's tech or overwhelm or just not knowing how to turn what you already have into something that sells, just reach out. You don't have to do this alone. All right, back to Katie's story. All right, so tell me something. Once you joined, what stood out to you early on in our work together with our support and all of the resources that we gave you? Was there a moment where things started to click or you thought, oh, like this is how it works, like things are different now?
So I would say the number one thing for me was the consistency in the organization. So, we had specific times to call in, to set up our calls. And I was pretty good about scheduling that to where I felt like it was consistent and good for me. So I think that one, it was all organized, and then you had it on the document and you took notes as we were going. I don't think I picked up on all that until halfway through because, I'm over here writing my own notes and all the data. You can go back into your documents and read what you've written. And I think that is so valuable. There were times that I went back and rewatched the videos between us because you had some valuable information in there that I couldn't remember. I'm one of those people that just needs to see it over and over and over again. So that was really helpful. Your response time on Telegram is really great. The texting back and forth, little Noom videos, like all of it
Mhm.
was consistent and organized in communicating
Mhm.
and never leaving someone in the lurch. Like I sometimes feel like, you can say, we're going to deliver this, and then they're just not there. I felt like you guys were both there when needed.
Mhm.
Trying to be respectful of not, penetrating too much into the evening
Yeah.
and the weekends and the time difference. I mean, I
Yeah.
sometimes realize, oops, I think I've sent them something early in the morning, but I'm sure you're smart and turn your stuff off.
I think this is like something that we knew early on when we started working with creatives is we wanted to give you the freedom to get in touch with us when you need it.
Yeah.
And yes, we're there to help you because we know, because we are artists, we are CEOs, we know how we're working to in the week. So we know what sort of support that we personally would appreciate from a mentor. And so that's what we try to basically emulate in our support to you guys. But then we also have these beautiful boundaries, right? We have the boundaries where, okay, you can drop into a Telegram, but we are going to be responding to you Monday to Friday between this time. Weekends are completely off, but you feel free to drop in and share your thoughts, right? So we had this like beautiful relationship, I think, of working together, and that's what it kept things organized. It was great working with a client like you who is organized, right? You identify as an organized person. So that's why I think like the work just went really smoothly.
It did. And
Okay.
for sure, like I think
Yeah.
that's so important. And you did bring up something that I think is really
Mhm.
valuable is that you are intentional about your boundaries.
Yeah.
And so you trained me well to know, okay, well they're not going to respond on the weekend, but you can put it in there. They'll get back to you. So I think that's just a good reminder in our own lives to hold our boundaries and be true.
Yes. And also at this, I'm like, as a mentor, I know that I'm emulating some of the behaviors that I do want my clients to take on, right? I want you to have boundaries in your business. I want you
Right.
to have boundaries around customer care, how you're supporting your students, because yes, we want to give and over deliver, but we also don't want to do it to a point where we're devaluing our work or minimizing our energy and things like that, right? So all the time, I'm like, okay, how do I model the kind
Right.
of boundaries that my clients absolutely do need to have in their business. So that's always like a meta thought that I'm always having when I'm mentoring you. Okay, so you started working with us. It was a 4-month container, right?
Right.
Can you recall some early wins that you had, like as soon as you started working with us?
Was the growth of my email list. I think
Mhm.
that was definitely an area that needed to grow.
Mm.
And so recognizing what the whole concept of a lead magnet was and how to set that flow up in Flowdesk, like getting all those systems set up was you saw immediate results. At
Mm.
least I did for whatever I was putting out there. And I think that's been one of my biggest growths is
Yeah.
growing that email list so that you have people who are interested in what your business is about. They're the ones that are going to open the emails if they like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that was key. The learning curve for me was coming on.
Mm.
I had to learn how to do Flowdesk. I had to learn how to do mini chat. I had to learn how to make a lead magnet. I had to learn so many things
Mm.
that I think round two, I kind of have a better idea, a little more clear, but it was such an uphill climb of learning that I had to dedicate 4 months to it. Like
Yeah.
you just can't be running around creating commission pieces and doing other things. I will say this to anyone that's going to jump on this, like focus on this. Give yourself that gift. If you're paying for it and you're seeking guidance from other people, you can't juggle everything. You
Yeah.
really have to focus. So I think that was my biggest win. Sorry, I'm not answering your question, but biggest win was the growth of the list. Anyway,
Yes, and let's actually like crystallize it for some of the people because they don't know how explosive your growth was. Before you started working with us, am I right in recollecting that your email list was sitting at 1300 for a
uh-huh.
long time and it was a bit
Yes,
stagnant, right? I think I remember you saying that there was like not much activity. You probably
fine.
weren't even emailing, it was just there,
It was just there. That's
right?
right. And now
And
it's, I think,
yeah, tell
where
us
is it?
now, like what's going on with your email list?
I think it's at 1700. No, I
No,
just lied. No,
that's all right.
that's all right. No, I'm just kidding. Um, 7,000.
There
So
we
it's
go.
at
7,000.
6,698 right now. So
Yeah, yeah.
please
So
7,000.
almost 7,000 people on your email list, and it's been 7 months since you started working with us. But I
Mhm.
remember in the first couple of weeks, as soon as you put your lead magnet out, your email list doubled.
It
I
did.
have a screenshot where you were like, oh my God, it's been like 6 weeks and it's like at 3,500 or something. And I'm like, whoa, that is an insane growth. So not only did your email list grow, but I feel like it came out of that dormancy and it became an active email list. And I
Yeah,
remember you telling me about your recent launch, which was the third launch that you did with us, is most of your sales came from your email list,
that's it for
right?
sure.
And I
Mhm.
think the biggest win in my eyes as your mentor is not just the sales that are coming from your email list, but I constantly hear you say on our coaching calls that I get so many responses from my emails. Like people write back to me and I have so many responses.
They do. So, and that's something else that I didn't recognize until we started working together is how important
Mm.
that touch point was, and that it's a consistent touch point, not an annoying touch point website coming at you or emails coming at you. I try to do a weekly touch point with value add information, how to help someone else's life or how to implement what's helping me in my own life. So I do get responses of, oh, I needed that today. How did you know that's what I was thinking? Thank you for doing that. And people drop off the email list because they don't want to see it once a week. And that's fine
Mhm.
too. I think I'm
Mhm.
learning that it's not a big deal that you lose subscribers because the people who really want to be there and want to read about it are going to be there and you
Yeah.
can't stress about that.
Yeah. And this is the thing that I feel like most creatives, even in 2026, haven't yet fully realized. And I really hope if you're watching this video, you realize this is your email list is literally the lifeblood of your business, right?
Mhm.
And it's not just that, you're thinking about sales for now, but it's a long-term community. It's like a compounding interest. It just keeps paying back again and again and again. And I think what is beautiful is you ramped up your communication with your email list, and that's what brought it out of dormancy. It wasn't necessarily just like a strategy or something, but your energy shifted and how you're adding value to people's lives. You're making sure if your email is getting added to the clutter, to the overwhelm of anybody's inbox right now, it's worth the read. That is the overall strategy. It's just human led. It's like you want to be adding value and you want to make it seem like, oh wow, it's worth having her emails land in my inbox. bucks. So that was amazing. Okay, so we did your founders launch within the first 60 days of you starting to work with us. So just to recap for people who don't know, a founders launch is where you pre-sell your course. You come up with your course idea, you come up with your course title, the price tag and the transformation, and then you put it out there before you even create it so that you're validating that this is something what your market needs. So we landed on your course idea and your title, Katie, Meditate with Watercolors, right? So tell us a little short snippet about what Meditate with Watercolors is and what really happened. Like just 60 days, we opened cart to your course and you hadn't even started working on it.
Yes. So, Meditate with Watercolors is I show you how you can combine meditation
Mhm.
with the beauty of watercolors and using the medium as an opportunity to get a rhythm or to sync your breath to the movement of the paint and the water. And just it's a calming exercise. We release all of our expectations of creating something perfect. It's a lot of what I teach in the course is play and not getting so caught up in it being a certain way and allowing yourself to just kind of let go a little bit, which is what watercolors
Yeah.
emulate in real life. It's a super relaxing approach to kind of either starting your day. I think of it a lot like a little exercise class, like just doing it to get yourself warmed up, combining the breath and the voice and the music and the painting all together. So all of that is taught in the course.
Mhm.
I had the vision. I mean, I've been teaching that course to people in person and on Zooms, but putting it all together, getting all the pieces, because you'll forget something when you teach in an hour and a half. You forget a few things that you want to say.
Yeah.
So putting it all into one course that I could sell was important to me. So we launched with the founders launch. I don't think I really understood
Mhm.
what the founders launch meant. So you kind of get these people to get on board with you, to cheer you along, and maybe give you some insight to help guide what you're going to create and what you're going to come up with. I had 96 people sign up, which was amazing. That's an amazing number. And a lot of them are probably just, as Tripti would say, and I think I would agree with this, are just like super fans, just friends and fans of we just want to see you succeed and get this done and do it because we know you've been talking about it forever.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think it's a nice way to kind of build momentum as you're starting this process to get this group of people behind you to help nurture you through this process.
Yeah, that was incredible. Like 96 students joining your course before it was even created. I remember your launch was $7,152. That's the exact number that I remember.
Okay.
Um, and it was epic. It was awesome to see that, yes, there's an incredibly high demand for this course, and people were just waiting for you to put this out. And your super fans were more than happy to support you. And what every artist who's watching needs to realize is even though you don't have Katie's viral numbers, it doesn't matter if you have like 2,000 followers, 1,500 followers, and a zero email list as you're starting out, you still have super fans. You still have the people who are willing to bet on you and who are like, if you're creating this course, and a founder's launch is basically like a Kickstarter, right? You give a pretty deep discount to the people who want to jump on board and support you in creating this. And that works for every single artist. Every single artist, doesn't matter what their following has been, they have gotten founders. So I think it was
I
like beautiful. Yeah. Go on.
I do feel like by having the founders, it held me accountable to get it done.
Yes.
So I don't like to make anybody wait for anything. I mean, it's just my personality.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I told them it's going
Yeah.
to be done in the middle of September. I'm going to make sure that this is
Hmm.
completed because
Yeah.
they trusted me. So I didn't drag my feet. And I could have easily done that. I think I could have easily been like, I'll just take my time. But
Mhm.
to me, it felt important to give back to these people that trusted me.
Yes.
And so, I felt like it was accountability for my personality.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal too, is because there are so many creators. How many people you've heard who just dream and they plan and plan and they want to get all of the system ready before they launch, but then they go ahead and launch the offer and they're like, nobody buys. That's because you didn't validate it. You didn't see if there was an interest before you started creating it, right?
Right.
And but ultimately, what it does is it keeps you accountable. And I've seen many creatives actually be afraid of it. They're like, I don't really want to do a founder's launch because then I would have to actually create the course. And that's where I come and say, and I'm like, that's exactly the point of it, though. Like, this is something that's going to, now you're committed. And once you're committed, a lot of people find it easier to stay in integrity with the commitment that you've made to someone else than
Right.
a commitment that you've made to yourself, right? It's so much easier to negotiate with yourself and be like, maybe we'll do it later, maybe we'll do it then, whatever. But the beauty of Founders Launch is also that it works with the individual personality of the creative who is launching. You're the sort of person you like to move quick. You just want to wrap up the project. And you did. You moved so quickly to create your course before you even wrapped up the work with us, which was fantastic. But then there are other creatives who have had like, health problems and stuff, and they've had to take it slow with their course creation, which has spread it across like 5 to 6 months. They're like, filming one lesson, dropping it to their founders. And that's very normal for an artist who has a full-time job or who is struggling with chronic health problems. But the point of it is all that it still keeps you accountable. Take a
Yep.
whole year to create your course if you're really strapped for time or energy, but you're still going to do it because you promised this to someone. And that, I think, separates the artists who really go and put the course of their dreams out there and get that project accomplished, is the willingness to commit to this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just, which is so beautiful. So I'm curious, Katie, what was the hardest part of the journey for you, and how did you move through it with the support that you got from the program?
I think the hardest part was tech. And you kept
Okay.
saying, stop saying it because you can do it. Nahush is like the mastermind. I mean, he's so patient, so kind, and walks you through it. I definitely think tech was hard. And it's a ton of work. All of it is a ton of work. And I kept hearing that. And then I would work for hours and I'd fail at something. And then I would get back up and try it again and fail again and try again. And I think that's okay. That's part of the process. But Nahush definitely, I mean, and even he would say, you need to do this and this. I'm like, I would never have even known to do that. Like that, I would have no idea that I was supposed to have done such and such and such and such. So I think looking back on the whole thing,
Mm,
I could never have done this without the support of you all. And I had tried multiple times to do it
mm.
without coaching. And I think coaching is valuable. I think you have to invest in yourself and in your business to make it grow. And I don't know. I don't have all the knowledge. So I'm grateful to have tapped into your knowledge.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel a lot of creatives don't realize that marketing strategies, selling, creating your course, filming, editing, all of that stuff is great. But what the hidden challenges is your platform setup. Which course platform do you choose? Is it Kajabi? Is it Teachable? Is it System? And like the rabbit hole that you fall into, like if you were to do this all by yourself, Katie, imagine how many hours upon hours of YouTube search you'd have had to do. The decision, the analysis paralysis of like, maybe you watch like a Kajabi video of some tech dude on YouTube. He's talking about the benefits of Kajabi because he has an affiliate link with Kajabi. Then the recommendation comes like some other gal who is talking about, oh, Teachable is really great and Kajabi sucks. And now you're like, oh, which one? Whereas
Right?
Namosh is able to come up with an option for you and just be like, don't waste all of that money there. Here's system.io where you get to do this like this and all the integration, right? How do you make Flowdesk talk to your course platform?
Right.
How do you automate the emails, the Zapiers, the many chat stuff? Like how you like automating the lead magnet delivery? There's so much that goes in terms of tech. And that is where I see a lot of artists get overwhelmed, which is
Yeah.
very understandable because I'm like, even I couldn't have been, I wouldn't have been able to figure it out without his help. So I love that tech was the biggest obstacle for you, and you got that exact tech help. And this is what, it sets us apart, and we're very aware of it. You always want to know what makes my offer the only option for a creative that I'm trying to help. And it's definitely been Nahush's in-house tech help for sure for us.
I mean, I think I said it even in the first month, I was like, dude, you need to do this off on the side and I will hire you full time. Like, there are times where you started listing all the things, and I literally was like, can't stand that part of my business. So,
Just this morning, I had like another past client come and tell me that the stuff that we did in 4 months with you, I would have taken at least 2 years if I had to figure it out by myself. And I would have burnt out many times. So I'm like,
oh, for
okay,
sure.
that's like actually interesting that you put it that way.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So, Temi, what changed by the end of Creative Course Launchpad for you? But by the end of 4 months, both in terms of the real results that you had and how you see yourself now as an artist and teacher. So let's start with the second launch that you did, the final launch in the fourth month with us.
I would say that I was not super pleased with the second launch. I guess I had envisioned different results,
Hmm.
but it wasn't bad. What it allowed me to do is take a pause and say, what is it that you really want? Like, what is it that you didn't like about this process? Opening a window, closing a window, doing a countdown, that kind of stuff. Like the good things about marketing and sales online.
Hmm.
What is it that didn't align with my own spirit? I think allowed me to think, okay, it doesn't have to always look like what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
It can look like what feels really good to Katie White. And I think that was the most positive takeaway. I had confidence in my own self.
Hmm.
Okay, you created this course. It's a good course. You love it. Someone out there is going to love it. We are going to figure out another way to continue to sell it. And how is it going to align with
Mm.
your business? And so now I look at the course more as a tool. I think I
Mm.
shared this with you that like it's really the tool to get you where I eventually want you, which is us showing up together online and me leading you through a guided meditation. But you won't know how to do that until you do the course.
Yeah.
So you've got to learn one, how to even combine the breath and the brush and the paints,
Hmm.
and then we can come together in community, which is ultimately where my goal is
Yeah.
sitting across from someone on a Zoom and leading them in a guided meditation.
Yeah, which is what we're building next. So basically, your course is now the stepping stone for the membership that you and I are like, we're going to launch together. But, by the end of the 4 months in Creative Course Launchpad, you came in with no course.
Right.
Like you didn't even have the course title, there was no price, there was no offer or product that was created, a dormant email list that was just sitting at 1300 for a very, very long time. And then 4 months later, your email list has exploded. I still remember you had actually already crossed 6,000 people on your email list by the end of our 4 months together. You had another successful launch, which was it was another $7,000 and another however many students. I remember, I think you had crossed 148 students or 140 students or something by the end of your second launch.
It
That
was
was in
so,
month
yeah.
four. Yeah. So apologies to whoever's watching. We don't have the exact numbers, but I will link all of the exact numbers in a case study document that's going to go out with this video. But you had more like almost 150 students in just 4 months. You got your course all filmed and edited. It was all uploaded. So the whole system really, with all of the tech, the automations, the lead magnet, your art challenge, everything was just done and ready in four
Yes,
months.
it was.
How does that feel when you look back and it was like it just took 4 months for you to get
It
there?
was like birthing a baby. It was
But
great. I mean, it is, I accomplished a lot. I am proud of where I came from, and I'm proud of the work that I put forth, and I'm proud of what I've learned. And it was probably the biggest accomplishment in my professional career as a professional artist, being able to do it. And then being able to step back and go, okay, now where do I want it to go? And how
Mhm.
do I want it to look and feel?
Yeah.
And I still need that support. And that's kind of where, I mean, I kind of came to you and was like, I'm going to relaunch this thing again. And I felt good just kind of doing it this one. I mean, I just did it. I took the knowledge that you gave me
Yeah,
and I did a little bit of different tweaking, and it
yeah.
felt really aligned with me. And then I realized moving forward, I still need my tech Nahoosh and your encouragement. So all of it is, I think it can get very lonely to be a solo entrepreneur artist. You get in your head. We paint all day in our spaces, and we don't have, I would love to say, I wish I had my board that sat around and we all could bounce ideas off of one another. I just think you can go alone at this, but you will burn out. You will hit a wall. So it's nice to get the support. And I think it's valuable.
It was honestly such an honor supporting you because, I mean, the results that you got in 4 months, we were 100% committed to getting you to that finish line in 4 months and being like, okay, we're going to do two launches. We're going to create your offer. Let's do this. Let's teach you how to set up the whole system on the back end and also teach you how to run it. It's because we knew, I think the biggest thing that you did that contributed to you having such a big success is you put a pause on your other projects and you
Mhm.
were there fully present learning what you needed to learn to be able to run this machine, because yes, we are here to support you, but at the same time we also want you to learn how to do the tech stuff by yourself, right? We are here to like do the patchwork and to support you and everything, but you got to know how to set up your landing pages. How do you design your Flowdesk emails? How do you do your ManyChat stuff? Like, how are you running this whole marketing and selling and launching and creating your course? It's a lot to process, you know? And I think you did it commendably because, and you were able to do that with a lot of stuff that was also really challenging for you in your personal life, but you still showed up and you did it because you put your other projects on pause. And
Yeah.
we, as your mentors, we were very cognizant of that. And we're like, we know what it means to put projects on pause. That means you're pausing the money flow somewhere else. So let's do this thing really well. And I think that mindset that you got is what led you to have really good results with us.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Now that you've worked with us, right? How is your business or life different now? And what feels possible for you going forward that didn't really feel possible for you before you started working with us?
Well, I haven't let go of you all.
Yes,
So,
because now we're working together for 12 more months, which is
right.
amazing.
And I think I mean, it took me a little bit to come to that place to say, you deserve to invest your business in this. Again, having somebody alongside you
Mm,
that is encouraging, reminding, holding you accountable, giving you the knowledge that you need to learn is so important. And so I feel like I have the tools
mm,
in my back pocket to move forward to do what I'm really dreaming of, which is putting a membership out there and reaching more people. So you just can't do that by yourself. Well, I mean, I couldn't do it by myself. So I am grateful for the support. I'm excited to see the possibilities.
yeah. And we've already started seeing beautiful possibilities for your watercolor membership, which is so awesome that we did that stepping stone course launch first. It was a crucial product to go out first so
Yeah.
that your membership is acting as the back end to your product, right? And this is something that I always repeat that you want to be very careful if your membership is the first ever online teaching product that you're putting out. I'm really glad that you didn't,
Yeah.
honestly, because like you said, you realize now how important that like mini course is for people to just learn the methodology and then join the membership for like deeper connection. That honestly makes retention in your membership so much better now that you have a course ahead of it.
I don't think I knew that
Mm,
going. I don't think I recognized that until after that September launch. I remember our first call. I was like, I want to do a membership. You're like,
mm,
okay, let's keep talking. And we kept talking. And then you're like, maybe you should do a mini course. And I'm like, what's that? Like, I don't even, okay.
mm,
I'm sure you knew what was happening, but I was not aware of that intentionality
mm.
until the whole thing ended. And I was like, oh my gosh, I needed that piece to
Yes.
really do it, because really you can't just show up every single time and reteach this over and over. And
Yeah.
that's where what the membership would have looked like, I think. And that's not what I want it to be. I want to say, here's your tool, go learn how to do it, and then come show up and we're going to paint together and create an experience of relaxation, which is the ultimate goal. I just think I didn't recognize it, but you probably knew it, what we were intentionally doing.
Hmm. I mean, it's kind of like going on a hike and a hike up this mountain that you've never scaled before. You've never even been in these conditions before, but you have a Sherpa, you have a guide who has walked the path many times, and they're like, okay, you want to be taking this path first, because then it's later going to set you up because I know what your long-term vision is, right? So this path is going to make a lot more sense for you. And so that was amazing in that I really appreciated how much trust you put in
There you
us
go.
in
Mhm.
terms of like, it was, I felt it was a real collaboration because I also didn't want this to be like, I'm just telling you what to do and just spoon feeding you and you're not bringing your own vision into this. This is a partnership and a collaboration, always mentorship is. And so it was really good that you laid out your cards on the table and you were like, okay, this is ultimately where I want to go through. I do want to have a membership. And I was like, okay, we're going to get you there. But first, let's put this stepping stone because I can foresee it. I've had a membership for almost 3 years, and this is what I regret not doing. I regret not having had a mini course and dip my toes into this whole system, like, setting up your whole platform and all the tech shit that you got to set up and the hours of work that goes into it.
Right.
Imagine doing that while also having the pressure to show up every month in your membership. That's not sustainable,
Yeah, I
right? And
agree.
I'm like, oh my God, like I do not want a watercolor meditation teacher to burn the fuck out doing a membership. This cannot happen. Like, let's
Right.
stop this for her first.
Right.
So it's been, you wrapped up your 4 months of work with us, and then now you have signed on to work with us for 12 more months to not only put your membership out, but also for CEO mentorship to grow your team and to really grow this like new phase of your business. So, what has happened so far? Because you've had 3 launches with us so far, right? So, can you tell us a little bit about, you know, the 3 launches? What has your like end result been so
So
far?
the
7 months
the
with us.
third launch I decided it just aligned nicely with the whole Black Friday
Yeah.
concept. So, and offering it at a discount for those people that had been kind of sitting on
Yeah.
the fence and making it a little more accessible. I thought it was a great launch. Ironically, I earned the exact same amount of money.
Which is
Someone told
another
me that they told me that
$7,000.
777 is lucky, right?
It
Um,
absolutely is.
so I'm just gonna go with that. And it's now it's out there. So it
Mm,
is, I'm still receiving sales. People are, stumbling upon it. I'm not being super active about driving people to the sales page. It feels really good to just have it out there and
yeah.
to say to anyone, you can go grab it. I
Mm,
I want it accessible. I am making the intentional decision to not close the doors to it.
mhm,
I know there's strategy behind that, but I just feel like if there's
mm.
someone that needs it today, I want to make sure they can get it.
I think for me, just having known you before you started this whole journey, before you put your course out, is, from not at all having a course to sell or the systems. 7 months now of us working together, you've had 3 launches. The third one was a lot easier than like the second launch, which was technically the first full launch that you did. The second one felt a lot easier. What was incredible for me is you had the offer, the systems, the messaging, the sales page, everything set up right in time to leverage Black Friday, right? But I see a lot of people just scrambling in November. Early November is when they're scrambling to put together a Black Friday offer towards the end of November. But you started the process in June, right? Slowly, steadily, you continue to show up in spite of so many life challenges. You also went on, I remember, 2 trips. Like one of them was like a beautiful international trip. So the work, yes, like you said, it was a lot that to actually sit and do it. And it always is. When you're building a house, like the most amount of work goes in building the foundation. After that, it's just like a drywall puzzle piece together. Like the way you guys build houses in North America is just wild to me. But that's the easy part. So you did all of the hard stuff. You learned how to launch. You learned how to do the content, the marketing, the emails. Everything was set up for you to leverage Black Friday, which, I mean, you sent a bunch of emails and got like, I don't know, 46, 50 students or something, which ended
I
up
think
being
it was
yet
close to 60 something,
yeah,
68 or 69, maybe.
68, 69 students signing up without any of like you didn't even do like a major launch event. Like you didn't run a challenge or a workshop. You just sent a bunch of emails, another $7,000. So that's been like in 7 months. And this is for artists who love the numbers, right? Like the business CEOs who love the numbers. Three launches in 7 months and $21,000 added to your bottom line in this year, right? And now you're poised for a successful membership launch in Jan. You have all the architecture ready. Now we're just creating another like beautiful offer.
That's
This
it.
is incredible. Like it's just like mind-blowing growth. And this, I think it just everybody who's watching, like I hope you see this is what happens when you commit and you go all in.
Mhm. You have to have trust and faith in your own self to show up and do it. And I
Absolutely.
think consistency, showing up, and just knowing that it's going to happen and it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. And it's got to build upon each other.
Yeah,
Okay, Katie, so something happened when we were working together is around the midpoint, a lot of personal challenges came up for you, which were, I could see that they were emotionally draining, and yet you continue to consistently put in the work. So, to artists who feel like life is happening to them and they're like, I don't know how to still show up in my business. Can you share how you balanced everything?
sure. In the middle of all of this, I needed to move my parents into a safer environment because they were aging. And it took a toll on our family. It was just a lot of hand holding and a lot of just kind of being a daughter at the time. And there were some health challenges as well with my parents. So I wanted to be the best that I could be, but I also didn't want to let this fall to the side. So I made a conscious decision to balance it, that there were days that I would say, I can't do this, but I am going to focus on my work. And I think none of us can plan life happening.
Yeah.
And we can use those life happening situations to build in as an excuse to
Mm,
not get something else done. But my business means a lot to me. I already knew that I had invested the time and the energy and the money into it. I wasn't going to let it fall to the side. But I also knew that I needed to figure out how to balance it better. And there were moments where I would say to the two of you, I cannot show up on this day, but I can be here the following day. And
yeah.
if you're an organized person, you can do both. I mean, you still have to make a living. Even when really tough things happen in life,
Yeah.
you still
Yeah.
have to show up. And so I really looked at it like that. And it's still ongoing. I mean, it's still very much a part of my world. And I know that this week I have 3 days I cannot do any work. I have to support my family. But I know that I'm going to show up really, intense on the other 2 days. I think being a planner helps a little bit with that. And then taking time. And one of the things, Trupti, that you did so well, and when you knew I was kind of going down like that, just emotional rabbit hole, you're like, turn off the phone, go and take a walk, do something, get away from it. And I think that was so helpful. Again, that takes you back to why is it important? It's important to have a mentor. It's important to have accountability. It's important to have someone alongside you that's reminding you, oh, by the way, go and breathe.
Yeah.
Go take a walk. This is your livelihood. You teach people to breathe. You teach people to do this. Go do it. And sometimes it takes an outsider to see that you're not doing it. So I think that just played into it as well. And that you all were not demanding of
Mhm.
this has to be done today. Like
Yeah.
were never demanding. So it was easy to say, okay, I'm placing the pressure on myself, not Trupti and Nahush. They're not placing the pressure on me. It's me that's placing it.
Yeah.
So I can back up just a step and say it's okay to balance this.
Yeah.
I was intentional about wanting to get that launch date in September out, and it was in the middle of the craziest time I've ever experienced. And I remember when it was done, we were both like, "Well, we didn't really have to do it then. Why did?" That's such a great reminder. Like life gets tough, take a pause. Like,
Yeah.
but don't give up on the dream
Mm.
either.
Yeah.
Don't allow tough life things to stop you from doing what you deserve to do.
Yeah, it was honestly massively inspiring to see you on the backside, right? Being fully aware of how much of a challenge it was for you on your mental energy just to deal with aging parents. It's like, something, it's so difficult, right? And like me, I can't even imagine right now, but to watch you go through all of that stuff, but still be devoted. I would use the word devoted because that's what you have for your business and for your people and the work that you do. And even with everything going on, I didn't see you slack off on the marketing. I did not see you use it as an excuse to like not show up, right? If anything, like you said, like, I could see you putting a little bit pressure on yourself that I need to get this, this, and this. And I was like, okay, you got to step away from your computer now, like get, and a lot of artists are like always like surprised, like you're actually asking me to stop working. And I'm like, yes, because I know that your business's biggest asset is you. And as your mentor, my top priority is to keep you nourished while also making sure that you're learning and you're implementing, yes, of course, but we're going to do it in a way that honors this season of life that you're in, and that this was the season of life that you're in, right? But some other artists, maybe they're going through like a job switch, like someone is probably quitting a job, someone has like a teenage kid to put through college, like every creative is going through something. But what your story and seeing you work, Katie, and also supporting all of our clients to many of their life happening stuff, I realized is life is never going to stop happening.
Never.
But what's going to separate the artists who successfully put their vision out there, like take something from their brain, the idea, and make it into reality, especially a course or something, is just a matter of committing to do this in spite of life happening,
Because
right?
life is always going to happen.
Yeah,
Always going to be something that's not easy. And so
exactly.
to just use it as the excuse to not show up,
Mm,
it is not the way that I'm going to roll.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. That was amazing. And I feel like this is something that people really need, though, because I'm not approaching this from like, oh, a case study, like this is an asset for me to get a sale or something. No, it's like people need to see, like, this is the difference. This is how it's got to get done. Otherwise, life is just going to keep lifing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story. I really love it. All right,
Yeah.
last question.
Yeah.
If an artist or a creative or a maker is watching this and they're feeling unsure about joining Creative Course Launchpad, what would you want them to know?
I truly think if you're sitting on the fence with it, I say invest in yourself and your business and trust having the support because I think the support is necessary if you are a single artist out there trying to make this happen. You've got to find the people who align with you. I mean, Trupti and Nahush are just super encouraging, very knowledgeable, and they know their stuff. I mean, I really feel like you guys know your stuff. You've got great resources, data to back it up. I just think the key for someone who's so used to working by themselves is to really trust yourself and invest back into it.
Because
That's
I've seen honestly, like every time you invest in yourself, you're basically betting on yourself. And who would you bet on yourself if not you, right?
right,
And
right.
then the universe just responds because you said yes and took a big bold step towards your dreams. And that I think it always comes back to people, you know?
It does. It does.
So it was incredible watching you take a leap of faith. And thank you so much for trusting in us because
Oh,
it
you
means
guys.
a lot because we are artists. We don't take any of this for granted, right? And so seeing you have so much trust in us, trust the process, and then learn the ropes, like you know how it is in art. You learn the rules to then break them,
Right.
right? So you learned the rules and then you had all of the data from your launches to then be like, okay, how do I break this rule? This doesn't sit right with me. And that's very much what we want to encourage, right? Try it, then
Yeah.
decide, okay, this is not for me, because you'll know for sure that this is not for you. And I was so happy that we were able to, find that path for you.
Right.
So, Katie, where can people find you and connect with you deeper if they want to do this after watching the video?
I do a lot on Instagram, so you can find me over there at Katie White Artist. Make sure you put artist on there, or you can do katiewhiteartist.com, my website. I'll take you there. If you are wanting to learn more about how to do meditative painting, you can go to learn.katiewhiteartist.com, I think. Ask Nahush. No, I'm just kidding.
Ask now, yeah. Or
It's
like check
learn.
the
Put learn
link.
at the front. It might be a
Yeah.
slash. I don't know.
So we're gonna leave all of the links. Don't worry about it, Katie. But thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your inspiring story. I'm really honored to be supporting you on this next path of your journey and to put your membership out there. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, the part of Katie's journey that actually stayed with me is not just those amazing big numbers that she got, but it's how she described what it feels like on the inside for her now. Imagine, instead of burning out with tech or strategy confusion, she's now growing her beautiful, beautiful watercolor art teaching business in a way that actually supports her life, her energy, and the kind of community that she's always wanted to curate. And if you're in that place right now where you know you have something beautiful and meaningful to teach, but maybe the whole process just feels messy or heavy in any way, just reach out. Tell me what you're working on and where do you feel stuck, and I can share with you what I would do if I were in your shoes. So I've left all the details below where you can apply to speak with me one-on-one on a free consult call. Go ahead and fill your details. I'll just take a look at what you've shared about your business and let's chat actually face to face, artist to artist, and see how we can draw you like a personalized roadmap so you can get over all this overwhelm and stuckness that you're in right now, and so that you have clarity to move forward on that big, beautiful dream of yours. And if you want another inspiring story of an artist who has successfully launched her online art course, then you want to check out this next video. But in her own words, she kept throwing spaghetti at the wall. Spaghetti. Spaghetti. She has grown her email list to over 75,000, 7,500, not 1,000, 100. My God. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Trupti. You're allowed to make mistakes. Nobody is judging you. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody screws up. Even experienced people screw up. It's fine. It's fine. Just keep going. Just keep going. There's no hurry. Just keep going. And you can claim your spot to.
1,700. No, I
No,
just lied. No.
that's all right.
That's all right. Edit that out. No, I'm just kidding. 7,000.
There
So
we
it's
go.
at
7,000.
6,698 right now.
Yeah,
So
before it was even ready or before you even started
Ooh.
working on it.